Let's take it up a notch. A marionette of those idiot kids.
Don't you dare touch my doorbell again! I will punish you, you little rascals! Stay out of my house, you little brat! I make sure you never again.
These are all your speakers. This is everything that is using the voice match that you already put in at the start of the process. So if you ever want to, you can remove devices and you can add devices here. So
Look at this.
for example, the living room TV,
It's all ruined.
you can see that I can add that. Now that's a Google Chromecast. So as I've added that, they're activating the voice match on that device, and I have to agree to the same thing I did in the Google setup. So you just saw me add a device, but down at the bottom is the remove from eligible devices. So I can hit the X on any of these to remove them from my personal voice match. This is my account. If you have someone else, you have to go into their account and remove their voice models separately. Now at the bottom, I can remove from eligible devices and get the option to remove from all of them. I can also do that voice retraining on the Nest Hub right here. So it's important to note that this is the voice model for the shared devices, and this is the voice model for my phone in this case. So you gotta read those headings there. You can also start the invite process for bringing in other home members into your home. All the way back to the recognition and sharing screen. So this, I mean, we just talked about voice matching and all of those things for a while, but ultrasound sensing, we talked about that earlier as a hardware component on here. You can turn that feature off if you don't want it to know when you're kind of walking up to the device. Do you want others to control your cast media? So what happens is, when somebody is in range and connected to your Wi-Fi, they can sometimes start casting from their device. This allows friends to play music or play videos from their phone. If their phone is capable of that, that's great. And if you want to send those crash reports, go ahead, turn on that radio button right there. Now, the next thing is notifications and digital well-being. Now, this allows you to get a little more personalized with this device, or a little more structure around what you like. So, just because the filters and downtime is a little bit different, I'm going to switch my phone up here. Now, digital well-being allows you to filter certain hours at certain times. Both of these things allow you to kind of create a calendar for the device and to filter out certain things that you maybe don't want. So, do you want to filter out for everyone in your home, and or do you want to filter for supervised accounts and guests? Now, guests are anyone who
Save
does not
my
voice match
other
to the display, and supervised accounts are kids. The other supervised accounts can be other adults that you've managed through Family Link, and again, we're
I want to enter this contest.
So I can hit next, and I get to pick now within videos.
Men.
So do I want only YouTube Kids content to play? There, that's kind of how I do that selection. If I don't want videos to play at all, I can select that. Or do I want to just allow anything? I can go ahead and do that. Now, I think that the restricted mode and the filtered content, that is probably good enough for a lot of households, but you can get some content on there that you may not love for your children, so you'll have to make that decision there. The next component is, of course, music. Obviously, you can allow non-explicit music, any music, or just stop music from playing on this. So you've got to make the decision per service, so you can kind of sneaky hide away something on your kids, say on Spotify only. This next component is just about the Google Assistant, really. Now, the first thing is allowing or blocking calls to be made or received through this device, but then Assistant answers. Do you actually want to restrict what this device can tell you about a little bit more here? You'll find that pretty heavily restrictive when you switch to restrict answers. I would say leave it, it's pretty much fine, but the one you can look at are the actions. Now, actions are third-party developed, they're kind of like apps, and I would say to only allow family-friendly actions if you have kids in the household. Now, let's set up downtime, and this is basically when you want to get your kids to stop using the device. So we're going to set up, and what it does is blocks all the responses, stops music and video, and alarms and timers do still work. So if you kind of set those up for the kid, you can still do that. Now again, we can pick all the devices, or we can just pick certain devices. So obviously with a bedroom display, it kind of makes sense. Now which days you want that to happen on, you could pick the weekends, the weekdays, the school nights, or you can customize fully and turn on and off certain days. So we don't care on the weekends. I'm a bit of a party animal then. I'll go ahead and do that. Now, scheduling downtime, I'm not that early to bed. Let's say, I don't know, 10, 4. I like
stupid kids leaving their belongings everywhere.
Night mode. Now, night mode, you can again schedule
sprinkle
whatever
dust.
you'd like. So I can set it to that same time frame, I can set it to the same days. And what it does is it allows you to automatically set the maximum volume quite low. You can turn on that do not disturb mode, so nothing is really going to happen. If someone's messing with you, trying to broadcast to that device, it's not going to come through. So I like to use this rather than downtime, but you can make that decision for yourself. There's also a base do not disturb mode that you can turn on this device and just leave it in that, so you won't get spoken notifications or reminders or anything like that. The other thing you can do is just YouTube restrict in general. So YouTube restricted mode, hide songs and videos that don't have appropriate content or kids appropriate content, and you can filter YouTube TV. Now that's a specific YouTube TV service. It's not actually all of YouTube. That first one is for YouTube. The next feature is sleep sensing, and we can actually adjust how we've dealt with our sleep sensing. So you can always deactivate it. We can deactivate the sound event tracking, which is that coughing and snoring, and those personalized sleep suggestions. So you can go into any component here and then you can adjust it. And I think over time what you're going to find is those settings are kind of in your Google account settings, so it kind of jumps out of the app for a second. You'll find that come into here. Now, here's where we can adjust our bedtime schedule, and we can hit the recalibrate option, which you can do on device as well. And here is your assistant access to Fit. Now, that's Google Fit, and we're allowing our sleep data, our respiration data to go over to Google Fit, and then you can ask about it on this display, how you slept last night. That'll bring up the base display, and then you can also ask how your breathing was, and they'll give you a respiration rate for the evening, a full average.
How was my sleep last night?
If you ask how your sleep was, then you'll get a response, and normally you'll get this detailed page Now I'm not going to go into it, but you can tap in for details, and because you've connected this to Google Fit, you can see data there. The next component is quick gestures. So we can redo the quick gestures if we want. We can turn that on and off, and you can turn off the individual features. So if you're finding that you're around then you also have the ability to snooze with a wave of your hand. Here is the photo frame. Now you can manage that all on device. I've already shown you that. But we have the ability in the application to adjust here as well. So banner notifications on the photo frame. So what we're talking about here is whether you want the kind of the top ones to the top notifications about your calendar coming up, whether you want those to show up. Do you want the weather to show on screen whenever it can? There's certain frames that won't show that. And do you want the time? Now the next component is personal photo data. I don't usually like to have that on because I'm always showcasing you guys my photos and stuff, so I don't necessarily want my name fully on the screen at all times. Maybe you do. That's up to you. The Portrait Google Photos aspect, so what they do is they'll stick two photos side by side and they kind of choose which ones to stick side by side. I happen to like it, so I leave it on Show Pairs. The next component is photo curation. You can choose the Live Albums feature, which is kind of a specific setting that you choose in Google Photos here, or you can choose the all albums to be curated by Google. Not a lot of people love the curation, so I tend to kind of put that on Live Albums and then select other albums. So, you know, a great example of a live album, I believe that Recent Highlights is a live album. And then the selection of family and friends, when you do that, that becomes a bit of a live album too. So you can just select your other albums and then set this one as live albums only, and it doesn't kind of curate, it'll just actually run through all your photos. When they curate, I find that I have to sometimes tell them to archive a photo or stop showing the photo, and you can say that and then they'll ask you a couple of questions and then the photo will go away and it won't show up
Can't even
anymore.
move away.
The
I'm
slideshow
so
speed,
excited.
of course, allows you to adjust how fast it's going through.
What is going on?
Here you go.
Once you have this you need to understand there is that this is only for the account you used when you connected to your Google Nest Hub or when you first set up that device. Now you can add and subtract albums as you see fit, and then you can hit done and it will shift over. Now there's a new way to deal with all of your photos, and when I first shot this you just tapped on the interface to get these three buttons to show up, but now you actually hold on the photo that you would like to bring up those three little buttons. Now you can tap that button to stop showing or archive the photo, or you can use the command to archive the photo to your Google Assistant and it will request if you'd like to do that. Now you can also hit the favorite button, which will bring it up more often in curation, and of course you can use that command to favorite this photo. The other thing you can do is share these photos, and this becomes really great if you've connected your contacts and you've also set some people into those household contacts where you can give them nicknames. So for example, I could pick my mother to send a photo to and just say, hey, share this photo with Mom. You can also go through the list and pick your favorite contact to send your favorite photo to at any time.
Is that right?
Share this photo with Mom.
Sure, mother or home.
The next segment is display. Now, this is to adjust some of the visual components of this. Some of this you can do on screen as well. Choosing a default TV allows you, when you say play Netflix, or you say play a show on Netflix, which device it's going to play on. You can always say that you'd like to play Netflix on the bedroom display, but let's say I always wanted it to start on my Roku because my Roku is in my bedroom as well. I can set that as the default and it will basically start anything I ask. So if I say play Netflix, it'll start on that Roku. Obviously, this is going to work better when you're using it in conjunction with, say, the living room TV, which is that Google Chromecast that I have. That's going to work better in general, or other smart displays. You have to see, for a device like the Roku, not everything works that you request to have happen on that device. But I'm going to
Francis,
other
check if our showstopper is working.
Relight recently came out with new bulbs that Bluetooth connect, and actually I have one right above me right here, and I demoed it on the channel. Those are called seamless setup with the Google Home application. They don't require another application, so you can look for those devices, and they become really useful for setup with products like this. The other thing is the works with Google. So this is if you're adding other devices like Philips Hue lights or vacuums. You can see I have my EcoVax vacuum. I have a Chipolo, which is a tracker. I have EasyLink devices. It's actually a Bulldog valve. I have the EasyViz cameras, my Harmony, my Logitech Harmony Habitat, in my Instant Pot. I have smart plugs from iHome, LifeX, Philips Hue, Roku, Smart Life devices.
Never bother me again.
Smart things I have a very lot of. So all of these things I've integrated with Google Home, and that's how you add it. Now, the quick way to do that is to search for something. So if we're looking for LifeX, I'll go ahead and try that typing again. I can go ahead, type that in, and it will find the service in general, and then just tap on presence sensing, so I can set my home to away and activate a routine actually that turns off a bunch of lights in my home and a bunch of smart plugs to make sure when I leave that everything's set the way I would like it. Now, I'm actually using presence sensing on my phone.
Now I'll see who dare celebrates Easter.
Anytime you come into the application, right up here at the top, you're going to find anything that Google kind of already knows you have set up in your home. How they're doing this is essentially magic at this point, but they know I have Home Assistant here, and I can tap on that. That's a quick way to add that service. You also saw before, it knew the Nest Hub was ready to be set up, and it will give you options to invite people to home and do things like that. These different quick buttons show up based on what you have available in your country to manage. So lighting is very easy to tap that button and hit off on all lighting in your home. I won't do that because all of my lighting here will go off, but you can also go throughout your home and turn on and off lighting with those radio buttons. The media screen is very good at this point, and it allows you to play music to different devices. Now, what I'll tell you is that to start it from this screen isn't great. Where it is good is when you've started up here, and then you can manage which speakers are playing on. You can actually tap on the different ones, and it will add that speaker on the fly. You can also add speakers on the fly on the display. That's a really great way to manage it too. But here you will see music, video. I've seen books on here, podcasts as well, and radio. The ability to call home is basically a one-tap button, and I'm not going to do that because it's going to play on all of my speakers, but this allows you to call all of those speakers you've connected with Google Duo. The ability to broadcast as well allows you to broadcast to all of your speakers. There's better commands to use if you just want to broadcast to one speaker. You can actually say broadcast to bedroom display, and it will do that. Now, the way you could do that in the application is by hitting this little microphone button. Broadcast to bedroom display. Hello, automators.